So we finished building our Talisman board of out of Legos, and I wanted to show you some details. As you can see, we're in the middle of a game here. So here is a bird's eye view of the whole board. I wanted the instructions to be visible, and here's some close-ups. Okay, so here's a wood space, then the cemetery. You can see there is this little ghost haunting the cemetery. Here's the village, okay, with a blacksmith forging a sword at this point. And here is the wise man in the village who can change your alignment. And, well, fields, the forest, plains, and here is the ruins. There is a card in here now. Another field space, and we move over to the tavern. You can see the tavern maid in the front pouring a drink. There's a mug of beer here and some cups. And the guy in the background, I know it's hard to see him, but that's the boatman who can take you to the temple. Here's another field space, plains space. Here is a forest. I had to be really creative with the trees here because I didn't have enough appropriate pieces. Here's another plains field. I added this little sort of like monster peeking out from under the ground. Hills. Another fields on our way to the city. And here is the city, seen from above. And in the city, of course, we have an enchantress. I used a Leia figurine and some unicorn horns that I just happened to have. And here is our alchemist, clearly doing some experiments. It's another field space. Another woods space. I'll remove the card so you can see the space better. Okay. Plains. Here's the crags. And another field space I added both here and in the previous field space I added to some peasants working the fields. This is the chapel over here. I even managed to put a priest with a cross inside the chapel. More hills. And here is the sentinel. I just happened to have this huge Minecraft figure and I thought this will make a perfect sentinel. So crossing over to the next side of other side of the river. Here's the hills. Here is the hidden valley. It had some tiny dinosaurs in it, in the original board art, so I used this pterodactyl I had. Here is the Black Knight. Unfortunately, I lost my black horse over the 20 years since I had played with it. And here's the Portal of Power. Let me remove the card so you can see the Portal of Power more clearly. And this here is my son's character for this game. It's the dwarf, and he's got the sun hammer and the sun shield from the Blood Moon expansion. Here's the castle, kind of a princess in the castle here. Here's the runes space, another wood. And here is the temple. I went with a simple design with this gate. And here's some chains because you can get enslaved in the temple. This poor guy is not a player character. He's just here to show that you can be enslaved. So here's a desert with some corpse of some impaled guy. Here is the oasis. And here's another desert. I added some skeletons to the desert, and here is the warlock's cave Now the guy behind is the warlock. In front there's that's my elf character for this game. I've got the spirit wand or something and the witch's broom here. And you can have another look, better look at the warlock behind. Ghostwood wand, I think. Here are the runes. I had this astronaut's helmet. I thought it looked really great. It's a sort of totem. The chasm. And here is another rune space. And here's the cursed glade with, you know, some heads hanging from the tree in there. And now let's move to the inner realm. Here is a vampire in the vampire's tower. This is the mines. Now you can't see it really. I'll try and show it. They had a lot of these doors, so I sort of put them one behind the other, slightly offset from center, so it looks like a labyrinth. If you look inside the mine, here's the Plains of Peril. I added some of the toxic pools that were in the original art, and I also added this head on a pike because, you know, why not? Why not have a head on a pike? This is the crypt. I really didn't have much of an idea for it, so I just made this sort of front of the crypt, and behind it I made this sort of rubble pile. So the thought is that you have to push through that rubble because it's a strength challenge. And here is Death on the dice with Death space. So here's a closer look. He's got a scythe, he's got a skeleton, a skull head. Here's the werewolf's den. I didn't have a werewolf, so I went with, you know, you have to use your imagination and imagine the werewolf is somewhere inside. We're playing with the Blood Moon expansion, so there should be a werewolf on the board, but I didn't have a werewolf to put on the board, so we just assumed that he's in wolf form. So here he is. This little husky is playing the role of the werewolf in a wolf form. Okay, and behind the vampire's tower, this is the pits with one of the demons you have to fight in the pits. And crucially, of course, here is the Valley of Fire. And here is the tower with, I didn't have a crown of command, so we put this box of treasure on top. And we're also using it to hold the day and night cards so that it's visible from everywhere. Okay, that's it. And one more aerial view of the whole thing. Yeah, hope you like it.